Hello there, and welcome back to my review of the Rockford Files, Season 5, Episode 2, Rosendahl and Gilda Stern Are Dead, written by Juanita Bartlett and directed by William Wyatt. The episode begins with a returning Rita Moreno, as Rita Kapgovic, on a date with a doctor. They are being watched by two goons who grab them and take them to see a returning Abe Vigoda, who we haven't seen since he played Al Dancer way back in episode 1 of season 1.
This is the age of public relations. Mr. Bonnetta's not called a goon.
This time he's playing Phil Gabriel, and it's a safe bet that he's a mobster because, well, it's Abe Vigoda. He tells the doctor, Dr. Rosendahl, he's a dead man, and the doc makes a run for it, while Rita flees in the other direction. We then cut to Jim the next day, returning from his holiday. He's got a message from Rita, who has been booked for murder.
They got me down here at the station, they won't let me go.
Jim makes his way to the station, and Rita has acquired a few more friends than when we last saw her. Rita's back to her old profession and as a result has been accused of Rosendahl's murder, working with the mobsters that nabbed her.
Me and some muscle I'm supposed to be in with like a gang.
While it's nice to see Rita return, it's a bit disappointing that they've basically reset her character, having had her lose all the money she inherited and return to her old profession. But it's not a huge problem for me in the course of the episode. We quickly learn from the mobsters that Gabriel wants Rita dead before she's able to identify him, as he has other legal troubles. And they also know about Jim.
She's hired a PI. He'll probably be sticking pretty close. This could be a problem.
They anonymously contribute to the bail fund set up by her colleagues in order to make her an easier target, but of course hadn't reckoned on Jim and Dennis. While Rita goes through mugshots, the goons follow Jim as he investigates, tracking down a colleague of Rosendahl's at a tennis club, Dr. Nevitt, played by our Columbo connection, Robert Loggia, just in case you were in any doubt that this episode was mob-related.
Dr. Rosendahl's death was not attempted robbery, but an execution-type slaying.
Jim does find out that Rosendahl's house was robbed after he was murdered, and someone claiming to be a public defender has been snooping at Rita's.
Public defender's office.
What?
A public defender's office.
Right before the goons try and grab Jim and Rita. While this episode is as fast-paced as the previous one, we're on more solid ground here as far as the storytelling goes, with a straightforward murder and a bunch of mobsters. It allows us to get to know more about Jim's process, why he's able to spot clues that others might miss or overlook, and it's a lovely bit of character development woven into the plot, as he investigates Nevitt and he and Rita see Nevitt meet Gabriel, who Jim clocks immediately, and wonders why a crime boss is meeting with a Beverly Hills surgeon. Breaking into Nevitt's office, he and Rita discover Gabriel was a patient of Rosendahl and Nevitt's, possibly for a hip replacement that maybe went wrong. Something confirmed when we see Gabriel in a wheelchair. He reveals that Nevitt has a recording of the operation, which will go immediately to the cops if anything happens to him, keeping him safe for now. We also find out the guy who questioned Rita is actually a surgical supply salesman, whose faulty hip replacement may be responsible for putting Gabriel in his wheelchair. Eventually, Jim confronts Nevitt and finds out it was him who burgled Rosendahl's house in order to get the recording to protect himself from the mobsters, as well as his reputation from being called into question. With a little pressure from Jim, Nevitt does eventually take the tape to the cops, who bring Gabriel in, and who is so enraged by the malpractice that he sees on the tape that he confesses.
I ought to kill you where you stand. I ought to kill you slow. Not like Rosendahl. That was too good for him.
This is a far more straightforward story than episode 1, but still delivers a few unexpected twists and turns. With the mention of a Beverly Hills surgeon and Gabriel's legal troubles, it seems to be hinting towards some sort of plastic surgery plot. Especially as it doesn't reveal Gabriel's physical condition until much later on in the story. And it also gives the impression that the sales technician might actually be a Fed rather than a co-conspirator to a botched hip operation. While it might have made for a more thrilling episode to have those particular red herrings be true, it's a more satisfying story to take it in a different direction, not so predictable, and make it purely about revenge. While not being a particularly trailblazing episode in terms of the plot or the storytelling, it's still very entertaining, and is pretty flawlessly executed. So for me, this is a 5 out of 5. Thank you. Goodbye.